What's up, everyone? UFC 314, the best pay-per-view so far for 2025. 311 was kind of up there, but there were some changes. But I gotta say, so far for the year 2025, this upcoming pay-per-view is as good as it gets. The entire main card is amazing. It actually also it used to have on top of everything Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates, but that one got moved. Anyways, it's still a badass event. So let's get to it. Main event, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. I don't have anything against Volkanovski. I've picked him to lose 3 out of his last 5 fights, and I've been correct. So I picked Topuria to knock him out. I picked Makachev to submit him both times. One was a decision, one was a knockout. I picked Volkanovski to beat Yair Rodriguez, and I picked him to beat Max Holloway as well. It's been the last 5 that I usually been correct. The last time that I picked Volkanovski to win, going back in time, to lose going back, was the second time he fought Max Holloway, which was a split win for him. But then I picked him to beat Korean Zombie Max Holloway the third time. And here I am myself finding, once again, picking him to lose. It's going to be the third time in a row that I'm picking him to lose. And as of right now, he's still the favorite. I just checked the odds, and it's almost a pick him. He's a minus 120 favorite. And he's minus 120. Diego Lopes minus 110. I would not be surprised if by the time Saturday comes, Diego Lopes officially becomes a favorite. Probably not by much, but just 2-3 days ago, Diego Lopes was plus 150. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, I for sure have a dog now. Now, I don't know. As of right now, Diego Lopes still is, but he might be the favorite come Saturday night. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? When Volkanovski, even a year ago, we're talking February 2024, when he lost to Topuria, age was already being brought up. He even played along with the joke, kind of wearing that hat, kind of like dressing up like an old man. He's 37, I believe. It's the same thing that I said when he fought Topuria. I don't expect to see a better version of Volkanovski, an improved, faster version. I think we're gonna see. I think the best Volkanovski has come and go. While Diego Lopes he just turned 30 a few months ago, you could argue you were going to see a better, improved version of Diego Lopes. 30 years old is just hitting your prime. I think Diego Lopes is going to catch him. I think it's going to be a quick. Officially, I'm picking Diego Lopes by TKO round 2. It could very well be round 1. I wouldn't even go as far as possibly round 3. I think if it goes past that, then Volkanovski might take over. But officially, I'm picking Diego Lopes, TKO round 2. I think it's going to be a stand-up battle where Diego Lopes is just going to catch him with something. I would even argue that, you can even make the argument that Diego Lopes might be a little bit of a better striker. Definitely hits harder. That's not even up for debate. Volkanovski's not known for putting people away with a punch. Diego Lopes is. And I think he's going to find Volkanovski's chin and knock him out. Again, I love Volkanovski. I don't have anything against him, but he's had really tough fights. I mean, Makachev twice, Topuria, and now he gets another killer, which is Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes has been, his loss again. Ivlov, I don't count that against him. He took that on 2-3 days' notice against a really good guy. And he actually gave him a very decent fight. And after that, he steamrolled everyone they put in front of him. The only one that was weird was the one with Dan Ige, where a lot of people keep saying, I brought this up last time I was talking about when Diego Lopes fought Brian Ortega, how people are saying, oh, Dan Ige took that fight on 2 hours' notice. No, yes, on paper he did. but he was 5 weeks into a training camp because he had a fight just a few weeks away. So it's not like Dan Ige was on vacation. And no, again, he was in fight camp more than halfway through it when he got the call. So you could argue this was a very well prepared Dan Ige. And just everything, the way how things played out for that fight were kind of weird for Diego Lopes. Last fight, he absolutely demolished Brian Ortega. But yeah, I'm picking Diego Lopes, KO TKO. I think as simple as I think he will find Volkanovski's chin early in the fight, and I don't think Volkanovski can take it. I mean, it's as simple as that for my prediction. Volkanovski will get caught. With that being said, if Volkanovski survives and pushes it to the later rounds, he could very well take over. But yeah, Diego Lopes TKO round 2. Before that, the co-main event, we have Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. I have a lot of underdogs for this one. So it's one of those events where it's going to be shit or it's going to be amazing, you know. But Chandler is coming from losing a decision to Charles Oliveira, where I think he got dominated every single round except for the 5th round. I think it was a solid 49-46. Yeah. I'm not impressed by Paddy Pimblett. I'm just not. There's a lot of fighters that come into the UFC that have a lot of hype. And then when I look at who they beat, I start to say, okay, there's nothing special here, nothing special here. Bobby Green. Okay. Tony Ferguson. Jared Gordon, who a lot of people think he lost that fight. I mean, that is one of the biggest robberies in UFC history. Jordan Leavitt, Rodrigo Vargas, Luigi Vendramini. So, you know, you sit here and say, who's his biggest win? Bobby Green? Is that his biggest win? I think Michael Chandler would smoke all of these guys. And as a matter of fact, the one fighter in common is Tony Ferguson that Michael Chandler put him into a coma. Paddy Pimblett took him to a decision. Yeah, he couldn't finish Tony Ferguson. He couldn't finish 40-year-old washed Tony Ferguson. So I think it's going to be a stand-up fight where Michael Chandler is going to show that he's the better striker, way more experience. He's also getting up there in age. He's about to turn 39. So I don't expect to see an improved version of Michael Chandler, but I think the Michael Chandler that fought Oliveira is good enough to beat Paddy Pimblett. But yeah, as simple as who has Paddy Pimblett beat? Nobody. He should have lost to Gordon, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green. I'm not impressed with it. With that being said, if Paddy Pimblett goes out there and dominates Chandler, then that's something that we can say, okay, he dominated Chandler. If you, regardless, if he wins, to me, that's a good win. Okay, you beat Chandler. He's above everyone else you fought. But I just don't see it happening. Bryce Mitchell. Before that, we have Bryce Mitchell versus John Silva. How do you spell it? Is it Gene Silva? I don't know. I have Gene Silva by TKO, round 1 or 2. This is one of those fights where one guy has to, the typical grappler versus striker, right? There's no way Bryce Mitchell is coming into this fight with the game plan to have a striking battle with Gene Silva, because he's going to get knocked out worse than, I don't know if as bad as Josh Emmett, because he was out unconscious in that one, but potentially just as bad. So there's no way that the game plan for Bryce Mitchell is to have a striking battle with Silva. And it's pretty obvious that the game plan for Gene Silva is going to be to keep it standing and make it a striking battle. Mitchell is coming from TKOing Cron Gracie, a really weird, boring fight where Gracie did nothing but pull guard over and over and over. He couldn't do anything. Eventually, in the 3rd round, Bryce Mitchell knocked him out. I think it was an elbow with ground and pound. Gene Silva is coming from destroying everyone they've put in front of him. Charles Jourdain, Drew Dober. These are high-level strikers. Drew Dober, I think he's a high-level striker, and Gene Silva beat him up pretty good. And then before that, his last fight, Milsic, back to start, he knocked him out in the first round. Made it look easy. And that's just the way I see how this fight playing out. Every second this fight is on the feet, Silva will outpoint and eventually knock out Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell has to be able to implement his grappling if he wants to win. Before that, we have Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Rodriguez is coming from losing a fight to Brian Ortega about a year ago, where, in my opinion, Yair Rodriguez lost that fight because he gassed. How could you disagree? Almost the entirety of the first round, when he was full of energy, he was using Brian Ortega as a punching bag. He stopped every single takedown. And whether it was the altitude in Mexico or him trying to get the finish in the first round and gassing himself, I don't know. Eventually, Brian Ortega took over and submitted him. He's fighting Patricio Pitbull, which I admitted with UFC almost every single weekend. I don't have time to watch anything else. Like with the wife, children, full-time job, and UFC every single weekend. It's hard enough to keep up with the UFC. So I took time to watch Patricio Pitbull's last fight, though, against Jeremy Kennedy about a year ago for Bellator. And I wasn't impressed. He won by TKO round 3. But up until that point, it was a very competitive fight versus a guy in Jeremy Kennedy that I'm like, who is this guy? He has a record of 19-6. He's lost his last 3 of them. And then you see that he's lost to Sergio Pettis, who I was never impressed with. And also age, the guy turns 38 this year. I don't think he has anything that Yair Rodriguez hasn't seen. Yair Rodriguez has fought Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and he was actually putting up a good fight against Volkanovski for moments. I have Yair Rodriguez by TKO round 2. I think he's a better striker. I think that year layoff is not too much to be worried about. There's no altitude, and I just think he is the better striker. Again, Patricio Pitbull, I watched his entire last fight against Jeremy Kennedy, and I just don't see anything special about him. So, and age too. So, Rodriguez by TKO round 2. And then before that, I have another underdog, which is Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes is coming from 2 destructions against Justin Jacoby and Anthony Smith. Very one-sided fights. They were not competitive at all. Before that, he had lost 4 in a row. But to this day, whatever this means, he's the guy that put up the best fight against John Jones. A lot of people still think he beat John Jones. But then he lost to Blachowicz, Prochazka, Ryan Spann is the only bad one amongst those 3. 4, right? Because losing to Blachowicz or Prochazka is not that bad. And as a matter of fact, I think Krylov has lost to Blachowicz. And I think he will lose to Prochazka. The one thing about this fight is Nikita Krylov hasn't fought in over 2 years. So we're talking about a 2-year layoff in a fight against Ryan Spann, where, yes, he got the submission, but if you go watch that fight, Ryan Spann had his moments, like in the stand-up and with the grappling. So I think the 2-year layoff and then Dominic Reyes' recent performances, I am picking Reyes to get the upset as well. So I have Diego Lopes TKO round 1 or 2, Michael Chandler by decision, Gene Silva KO TKO round 2, Yair Rodriguez by KO TKO, and I also have Dominic Reyes also with the upset by TKO. I also have Dan Ige with the upset, Chase Hooper submission round 1, Michael Oleksiejczuk by TKO round 2. But all right, guys, I'm out of time. Follow my Instagram, the MMA Sensei, where I post always the entire card. Have a good one.